Hey everyone, welcome to FilterGrade. In this video, we're going to show you how to use lower thirds in After Effects. Lower thirds are useful for introducing guests, adding additional information, or providing credit. Previously, we made a video about using lower thirds in Premiere Pro, but After Effects is a little bit different. Actually, quite a bit different. In Premiere Pro, you can use the Essential Graphics panel to find and organize MOGRT files. But can you work with these in After Effects? Well, the answer is usually not, at least the ones that come with Premiere. Those Premiere Pro Essential Graphics templates that come pre-installed with Premiere Pro or that you got from Adobe stock probably won't be able to be used or edited in After Effects. If you try to open one, you'll be met with an error stating that the file was created in Premiere Pro and cannot be edited in After Effects. However, MOGRT files that you download from other sources may allow for editing in After Effects. Your experience could vary quite a bit. So you'll want to work with a lower third designed for use in After Effects that you got from the FilterGrade shop, or you'll want to make your own in After Effects. Then you'll have a template you can use in both After Effects and in Premiere Pro. So let's create a custom lower thirds template you can import into Premiere Pro and customize to your liking. Basically what we're going to do is create a single text box that can then be stacked and modified in Premiere to do different looks. So to start, we're going to open up After Effects and make a new composition. We're not going to make it anything like 4K, we're actually going to make it only the size of the lower third, that way it's easier and more flexible to use later. So let's do 850 by 150. You can choose different numbers, but something like this should be the right size and aspect ratio. Speaking of aspect ratio, make sure you deselect Lock Aspect Ratio before we start. Then make sure you name the composition something like lower third, and then for the duration, 8 seconds should be perfect. This is going to be our entire lower third, so the first thing we're going to do is create a solid that covers the entire composition. So create a solid with the same dimensions as the composition, and go ahead and make it white. We're just going to do a simple sliding animation for this. Open the position properties for this layer, then move the playhead to the 1 second mark and press the keyframe button to make a keyframe. Now move back to 0 seconds. You can either click and drag the position value or click and drag the solid layer while holding shift to move the solid off to the left until it is just off screen. In this case, it'll be negative 425 pixels. Now if you play it back, you'll have a simple animation that moves the shape from left to right. In order to smooth out this animation, click on the rightmost keyframe and press F9 on your keyboard to easy ease it. Now click on the Graph Editor button, and on the curve, drag the rightmost curve's handle all the way to the left. This will make an animation curve that starts fast and ends slow and smooth. Now move the playhead to the 6 second mark and create a new position keyframe. Then move to the 7 second mark and recreate your first keyframe here. You will want to press F9 with this keyframe selected to turn Easy Ease off. This will create a symmetrical animation going both in and out, but you'll need to select the third keyframe and adjust the curve again. So select it, click on the graph editor, and drag the leftmost handle of the second curve all the way to the right. Now we'll have a fantastic simple animation that mirrors itself. But to get a really cool effect with the text, we're going to need to change the way this solid animates. Bring up the scale property and click the chain symbol to unlink the vertical and horizontal scale. We'll only be using the horizontal scale here, but not right now. So leave that for now, when we're going to add our text in the meantime. Select the text tool and add something like example text, just to get an idea of what it will look like. Adjust the position and size to your liking. You can select left, right, or center aligned, but to keep things the simplest, I'm going to go with center aligned. Then I'm going to bring up the align panel and make sure the text is perfectly centered both vertically and horizontally. The cool effect we're going to do is for the background solid to reveal our text when it animates in. To do this, select the background solid and duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D. Make sure this layer is on top of all the other layers, and then you might want to rename it Text Matte. Now we're going to use the Track Matte tool. It will be a drop-down menu next to your layers. For the text layer, select Text Matte for the matte layer. Now when the background slides in, the text will be revealed. Next, reveal the scale property for both the text matte layer and the background layer. drag the pick whip from the scale of the text mat to the scale of the background layer. This connection will make more sense later, but basically is going to allow us to change the animation to scale with the size of our text and background. Now the background itself needs a matte layer, so create a new solid called background matte. You can make it any color that helps you see it in the project, but it won't be visible in the final product, so you can make it bright red or something. Drag it so it's right above the background layer, then select the track matte for the background layer and set it to background matte. Then reveal the scale property for background matte and unlink it as well. In order to make this template as flexible as possible, we'll need to add the fill effect to the background and the text. This will let us change the color when we bring it into Premiere Pro. So go ahead and search for the fill effect and drag it onto both the text layer and the background layer. It will select red by default for both of these, but go ahead and change the text to black and the background to white. Now to make it customizable in Premiere Pro, we can use the Essential Graphics panel in After Effects. So go ahead and add that window now. Select this composition as the primary composition, then give your template a name. Give it a preview thumbnail by moving the playhead to around the center and clicking Set Poster Time to basically take a screenshot of that moment. Now we're going to add settings to the screen that we want to be able to adjust in Premiere Pro in the Essential Graphics panel. You can create a comment and title it Text Settings. This will be the header for our text. Now click on Solo Supported Properties. This will show us everything that we can add from all of our layers. For the text layer, drag and drop Source Text and click on Edit Properties. Check all three boxes, allowing you to adjust all of these properties in Premiere Pro. This will let us change the contents of the text as well as all the properties like font size and font type. Now add position and color as well. Add a new comment, which you can call Shape Settings. From the background layer, add color, opacity, scale, and then finally the scale from the background matte layer. You might want to rename this one Mask Scale. When you shorten the length of the shape, the animation will enter at the wrong point, but if you adjust the mask scale to the same value as the scale of the shape, then it will function as intended and scale the animation to match. And that's all the steps. Now you just have to click the Export button in the bottom right. It will save the project, and you can select a save location for these templates. You can save it to your library here if you don't want to have to import it into Premiere Pro, but if you didn't do this, you can just open Premiere Pro, open the Essential Graphics panel, and click on the Import button in the bottom right. Then find and select your template. Now simply drag and drop the lower third on top of your footage. Now that we're in Premiere Pro, you'll need to resize and move the lower third to the exact position you want it. You may realize that for most lower thirds you're going to want two layers. One for the person's name and one for their title, generally. But this is simple with this template that we've set up. Just duplicate the layer, then we can adjust the sizing and the colors. So let's say our bottom layer is going to be the title and our upper layer is going to be the name. In the Essential Graphics panel, with the upper layer selected, change the text to whatever name you're using. Then adjust the horizontal scale to trim the mask to your liking. After that, make sure the mask scale value is set to the same number. You can change the color of both the shape and the text here as well. For the lower title layer, you will generally want it to be smaller than the name. So type in your title, then reduce the font size. You will then need to adjust both the horizontal and vertical scale of the shape in order to make it fit well. Make sure you change the mask scale to match as well. And lastly, change the colors and drag it into the exact position that you want. Since the two titles are different layers, you can also offset the animations so they don't come in at the same time. There are a ton of options to customize the look and feel of these lower thirds, given the way that we set up the template. You can even reuse this template as a movie title by turning down the opacity to 0. You'll still get the wipe animation, but without the background. If you need to make it shorter for any reason, you'll just be able to use the razor tool to cut out the center where there isn't any animation happening. And if you need to make it longer, you can cut somewhere in the center and create a frame hold. The options are pretty limitless in terms of how you can use this lower thirds template. After Effects unlocks a ton of possibilities for customizing your lower thirds, and it can be a lot more flexible than just using the built-in ones in Premiere Pro. If you found this video helpful, let us know by leaving a comment and subscribing for more video editing and photo editing content.